3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's cold. Welcome back to You Betcha Radio Podcast, the coldest podcast in all the Midwest. I'm Miles, You Betcha Guy, here with Ryan, the T-shirt guy. We have a great podcast lined up for you. We're going to recap our bar takeover at Country View Acres. We're going to start talking some lake activities. And then we're going to get a little more serious maybe, and talk some Memorial Day weekend stuff. And so let's get into the show.
I would venture to say it's almost the nectar of the gods. Back, baby, back. I want my push. Oh my God, that's cold.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 21 of the You Betcha Radio podcast. As Miles had mentioned, we have a great show ahead of you guys. We finally get to talk about lake activities, our top 3 lake activities that we're going to get into later in the show. We're going to do a quick recap on the Country View Acres bar takeover that we did in Joyce, Iowa last weekend. But before that, guys, remember you can find our main social media pages at Oh You Betcha on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on them all at Oh You Betcha. That's the content hub of our page itself on top of what we do here at the podcast. So we're 1 week away. We got another bar takeover coming up. Where are we going this time?
Oh, that's already here. We're already going on to the next bar takeover.
1 week away.
I don't know if my liver can handle all these bar takeovers this close together.
But it's like, there's one thing that has gotten us to this bar takeover. What would you say has been the main component of driving to Wisconsin Dells and Joyce, Iowa, and our next bar takeover? We've been rolling in style.
Oh, I see what you're doing, Ryan. You're trying to segue into the first sponsor. So, Ryan, usually you would say something like, yeah, I saw this really cool car this weekend. Speaking of really cool car, but not a car, a trailer. U Motors, Motorsports and Marine, located in Fargo, North Dakota, and Pelican Lake, Minnesota. They have all the best brands. They have Honda, Yamaha, Ski-Doo, Can-Am, Sea-Doo, Nautique boats, Supreme boats, Super boats.
All the boats.
A little bit of a dial-up connection from Ryan, the T-shirt guy today. And Avalon Pontoons. If you mention this ad, you can get 20% off parts and accessories. Some exclusions may apply. Like I said, these guys hooked us up with our trailer that get us to all of our bar takeovers. Couldn't do it without them. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, also at their website at umotorsinc.com and umotorsinc.com. The second sponsor on this podcast is Boston's Pizza, located in Fargo, North Dakota, where our third bar takeover will be taking place on June 8th, starting at 3 p.m. as they always do. Boston's Pizza is a great place for not only drinking and having fun at their sports bar, but it also is a family restaurant. So don't be afraid to bring your kids as well to the restaurant. They have amazing scratch kitchen food.
Yep.
I didn't know they were scratch kitchen, which is cool. They have, even though they're Boston's Pizza, they have phenomenal ranch, which we saw on the Ranch Wrangler, one of the first ones ever. It might even be the second one we ever did.
Yep.
They have phenomenal wings, burgers, and then obviously their pizza is great. They have a very diverse menu. There are, in their bar, there might be like 20 TVs in like not that much of room. Like 20 TVs in Buffalo Wild Wings is like, oh, it's Buffalo Wild Wings. But in this bar, which is a good size bar, but it's like they're across the entire wall.
Yeah, they're everywhere, facing every which direction.
And if you think that you can't get a game, let's say you want to watch the Tampa Bay Rays play the San Diego Padres, any game you could ever want, they will have it. So Our third bar takeover taking place at Boston's Pizza in Fargo / it's West Fargo technically, but they're all in the same area. If you haven't been to Boston's, you need to go try it out. They have amazing ranch and food. Again, Boston's Pizza. They're launching their new patio.
Yeah, actually, they put that into conjunction with the bar takeover, so there'll be a full patio out in their parking lot.
We're praying for sunshine.
Yep, praying for sunshine. But honestly, man, you think
Ryan.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, I forgot this. They're going to have a Bush Mosa bar from
That's
11 a.m.
right.
to 3 p.m.
So we're going to be
So come early before we start our podcast, hit up the Bush Mosa bar, and then stay for the rest of the activities. Oh, nice bush burp. That was weak.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, sorry I cut you off, but that was the one thing I did forget, but is like a huge detail.
Well, yeah, because we haven't done that in a bar takeover yet. Normally we just start at 3. We start just slinging back a few beers, but now we're actually going to have the full Bush Mosa bar.
Yep.
Start having a few beers at 11.
Candy garnishes, the whole thing.
Yes. And when you think of Boston's Pizza too, it's a little bit misleading to where it is a family restaurant, like we said, but for those of you who are thinking like, oh, what could a bar be like in a pizza place? It is like a full-on bar, like Miles said, with TVs all over the place. The bar stretches from one side of the room to the other.
Well, the bar feels like it feels definitely sports bar first, then pizza later. You know what I mean by that?
You
Like
get
it
the best
just
of both worlds. Like you could go there for happy hour with your coworkers and sit in the bar area, or you could go there on a Thursday night with your family and sit on the family oriented side. So I'm excited. It's going to be a really cool venue. For one, they have their patio launching, fingers crossed, on June 8th in conjunction with the bar takeover, and we're going to have our first ever Bush Mosa bar.
Bush Mosa bar.
It's actually been a while since I've had a Bush Mosa. It's very just like underrated and forgotten about.
I had one when I shot the video. They are very good.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Especially with like gummy bears or the gummy worms that I had with it. But before we get too far into the next bar takeover, we got to finish up the last one. So the last one was at Country View Acres. It was definitely a different type of venue.
Yep.
It was very spread out, which for a bar takeover is not like, it's not like we are praying for a spread out venue.
Yep.
But for a wedding, that place is like prime. Or even just like a banquet dinner or whatever, like that place was prime for that.
Yeah, and they had a full bar in there. We were unfortunate enough to be in the opposite corner of the bar. But they were nice enough to bring us over a couple bushels and throw them in the U-Betty, and we didn't have to walk all the way over to the bar, which is
that was
great.
Nice. The crowd was great. There was a few hundred people there, 200-300 people.
When you talked about a spread out venue, I was a little bit worried right away because this place is massive, right? And if there's a couple hundred people there, there's going to be some dead space inside the venue. But I remember very vividly just stopping myself at one point in the night and just looking into the crowd and whether or not this place was filled up, and there were bodies all over the place.
Yeah, it was pretty full, but it didn't feel full because it was so big.
Right.
But what I thought was funny is they had beer pong set up. Mm-hmm. We went 2-0, not to brag.
Not to brag.
We were going to play some cornhole, and then it started downpouring, like the downpour where you can't see 10 feet out the window.
Yeah, we were going to play the Iowa Chill Boys in cornhole.
Just
we told
never
them
end up
5 times. We're like, yeah, we'll be out in a second. But there were just people all over.
Well, I just felt bad too because I had people that were standing there waiting to chit chat, or some people were hey, I came here to talk to you and I got to go. So you're not going to
It's a good thing for the Iowa Chill Boys because we would have waxed them on those cornhole boards.
Yeah, so...
Little did they know, we ran a 50-team cornhole tournament at You Betcha Palooza.
No, Ryan. We tried to run a 50-team cornhole tournament.
The winner got their money. People got some free gear.
That's all that really matters.
Everyone got their prize packages for signing up.
Yeah,
I think we knocked it out of the park for the first one.
You sold a lot of merch. You were slinging those. What I thought was funny, which I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but people bought the shirts and then just went and threw them on immediately
over top of their other shirts. It was awesome.
Yeah, I felt I just didn't expect people to want to do that, which it's cool, but it's just funny at the same time because you're Oh, okay.
I think it helped that you were wearing the merch this time too, because in Wisconsin Dells, you came more as Miles, and in
I misjudged how the vibes are going to be.
Yep.
Never again will I ever do that again.
Well, I mean, it went great.
Yeah, but my shirt. That might have been the biggest failure of the first one was the shirt I wore.
Really?
Yeah, might have been. It didn't feel as on brand as what I usually are.
Yeah.
I tried to make it too much of like a big event.
And you weren't wearing a hat either. You normally wear a
I was
hat.
wearing a hat. I was wearing my my orange hat, remember? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Ryan, come on, man.
Huh.
You weren't that drunk at the first one.
No, I wasn't. I was just...
I had a lot of beer. I probably didn't have as many beers as I did on the first bar takeover. But there was a gal there with some apple pie in a flask.
Ooh.
So
I saw you drinking that.
Yeah, I ripped a couple off of that. So that really got me going as well.
Ripped a couple apple peas.
We ripped a couple apple peas. We might have to start like bringing apple peas to the thing. I like that.
Kind of like a sub-branded, like, just like this is the liquor of choice for...
Well, that's not my liquor of choice, but it's the special treat.
The special treat of
You know what I mean? It's
Betcha.
not, I would say apple pie is not like no one brings apple pie as their drink. You know what I mean?
Would you agree that that's one of the biggest like flask drinks of fall tailgating?
Or just like an unlabeled big bottle.
Yeah.
Where are these people getting these unlabeled bottles at?
I don't know. But apparently they just... And sometimes they'll like peel the label off as if they don't want anyone to see like what it is. So it's a little more discreet as to what's in the bottle versus...
Well, a lot of them make them themselves, you know?
Right, but it's like they don't want people to know what was actually
in it before.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't been, and maybe there is, but I feel like there should be like a company that's just selling apple pie as like already made in a bottle.
Like a twisted tea kind of. You get like a spiked iced tea or...
And maybe it's because there's too much booze in it that they literally can't.
I feel like you could...
Yeah.
Let's not get into that too far.
That's going to be our next business, Ryan.
Hey, The Rock came out with his own tequila. Conor McGregor came out with his own whiskey. Why can't Miles come out with his own
Florida Georgia
apple
Line,
pie?
their own whiskey.
Yeah. Why can't Miles come out with his own apple pie?
Because I am not Conor McGregor. I'm not Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Of the Midwest, you are. Wow, I just gave you a lot of credit.
Yeah, Ryan, cool it. Yeah, I mean, and maybe there is something out there with apple pie that's like that, but I haven't seen anything. But you do feel like when it's a bigger get together, someone always brings it. One thing I noticed about this apple pie is it was very cinnamony, more than what I've had.
Did you prefer that or
Tough to tell.
Maso Menos?
It was Maso Menos. It was good. It just was a little bit different. But we had that going on.
You know what?
We started taking photos on the couch, which I thought was really funny because it was like, it felt like it was like about to turn into like a porno. Sitting on the couch.
There was a guy that asked me, he's like, "Hey, have you guys ever casted auditions on this couch before?"
No,
we have
Betcha
not.
is not a front for the porn industry. We promise all these lights, these cameras, these couches. It's not a front. We are not associated with the porn industry whatsoever. We have a lot of parallels, it turns out.
Yeah. You know what one of the coolest things I thought was at the bar takeover?
What was that, Ryan?
So Joyce, Iowa is a town of, don't quote me on it, but maybe 400 to 500 people.
I have no idea.
Country View Acres was a few miles outside of Joyce, and there was one Lyft driver in the area that was bringing people home.
What's funny is we did get the number.
We did.
We didn't
and
need
it wasn't through the Lyft app either. It was like a text message from this person. It was like
sketchy side deal. It was a sketchy side Lyft deal.
And
we ended up not needing it because we had a sober driver.
Yep.
But that is really funny that like in small towns. Oh, because I made a joke about on the small town bar bit about whether or not they have lifts and like saying if you even bring up a lift.
Yeah.
So that's why you and I never even asked anyone about a lift.
No.
But we heard some lady was like, all right, I'm about to leave. My lift's here. And we and him like, we almost broke our neck. We whipped around like, what? There's lift here?
Yeah.
But apparently it's just one gal. and everyone just has her number and texts her anyways, so it defeats the whole Lyft app purposes.
Hey, that's the right way to get around the Lyft fees. You know,
she really has cornered the Joyce market, apparently. Now there's going to be someone in Joyce has listened to this and be like, screw that. I'm going to start doing it for a little bit cheaper.
So then the next year there'll be 2
and
Lyft
that's
drivers.
Capitalism at its best.
Yep.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. I'm just trying to think of other stuff off the top of my head. Almost got in a fight.
Yeah.
Some dumbasses tried to steal a few cases of beer off of our stage.
Off the podcast set. They were stealing.
And at that point it was like pretty late in the evening, and Ryan and I were just talking and mingling with people away from the set. We kind of cleaned it up. And these idiots who were really drunk, and I'll call them idiots because they literally tried to accuse me of telling them that I said that they could just take a case of beer. Ryan, you've known me for years now. Would I ever tell someone to do that?
Never.
Never would I ever do that.
Because when it comes down to it, every guy, every kid, every whoever can scavenge up $17, $16 to go buy a 30 rack of Busch Light.
How low do you got to be in life to go to an event where it's all about celebrating? Everyone's celebrating just having a good time, drinking beer. Everyone respects the beer, respects the venue, everything going on. And then you're like, oh, dude, go grab a couple of cases of beer. It's like,
very shallow.
And they were not like freshly 21-year-old kids.
No,
these are like, my guess is they were like 32 years old. And then the dude like literally, he literally like tried to get in my face and say that I said that, and was like like he was gonna fight me. I'm like, you're not gonna fight me. This is so stupid.
Because if the You Betcha guy says you can take a case of Busch, it's okay.
Yeah, apparently if I just say that you can if you can do that, like just go do it. It's just so stupid. But that was the drama. Interesting. That was a drama. I almost forgot about that actually.
Yep.
Which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, you're 30 years old and you need to be stealing 30 rack cases of beer, bushels from a set, from a venue.
Yep. I think if you put one more hour into your job per week, that would pay for a case right there.
Yeah.
Just talk shop with your boss at the end of work. Clock yourself
one day of work.
Clock yourself out an hour later and go buy a case of beer.
Yeah. It was so stupid, but not to say that like there was a bad event. That was just one blip in it.
Yeah.
I thought it was definitely a success. Definitely a different type of bar takeover, but it was really fun. I had a great time. Most people that I talked to at the events or after who have messaged, whatever, they had a great time as well. And so again, one more time, thank Country View Acres for having us. We had a great time. But now on to Boston's Pizza. So we're going to take a break, and then we tried to get into it last podcast, remember, with the lake activities, and we just kept talking, or 2 podcasts ago when we kept talking about St. Louis.
Sure.
So now we're finally getting back to that. And so we're going to talk top 3 lake activities after the break. Oh my God, that's cold. Before we get into the next segment, I want to talk to you guys about Gina's design. I actually didn't see that one coming. I was about to get locked in for the ad.
Wow.
So, sorry, Gina.
Now we're ready.
Apologize to Gina, Ryan.
Gina's Designs, I apologize.
What was I even saying now? I had a good lead in too. Before we get to the next segment, I want to talk to you guys about Gina's Designs of the Heartland. They make Nectar of the Gods hand painted wooden signs. They also do other signs, obviously, but they've done that for us. They're straight out of America's heartland in Iowa, actually. We were just there. We actually just saw the guys there who helped Gina do her thing. They were slinging signs as Ryan was slinging shirts. They are perfectly hand painted with the best quality pine. You can grab some of this fine decor to hang at your shop, man cave, even the kitchen, I would say. It honestly, as they would say, it brings out your inner Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yep.
They gave us a big, like one of the big daddies, I'm calling it the Big Daddy Nectar of the God sign. So you might have to stay tuned. Maybe we'll give it away on one of our social medias. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Yep.
Maybe we'll keep it for ourselves. But no, I'm kidding. We'll probably give it away. Gina's Designs of the Heartland. They have awesome signs. They're available 24/7 on our site. We're never going to close that down. And so go to the website right now, oubetcha.com. Get yourself a Gina's Designs of the Heartland sign. It says Nectar of the Gods with our logo. They look awesome. Thank you again to Gina's Designs of the Heartland for being a great partner for us, showing up to Last Bar Takeover, and supporting the brand.
One cool thing I heard about Gina's Designs when I was talking with the guys there that were helping her was that she's like a painting instructor, or she hosts like painting parties, and she has taught over 7,000 people how to paint.
Yeah.
So just think about this.
Yeah.
Drinking Busch Light, you're painting something cool. You're painting the next Picasso. Miles is trying to just paint a photo of himself with the
Yeah.
white robe on.
I like that,
Drinking
actually,
Busch
man.
Light.
Quit, you're turning me on, Ryan.
She's your gal. So she definitely puts together some really nice, good looking Busch Light Nectar of the Gods signs. So we're excited to have them a part of the brand.
Yeah, they've been really, really awesome to work with. Bush burp. All right, Ryan. Top 3 lake activities. I got mine locked in. Do you got yours locked in?
Yeah, I think
So you go ahead. I thought you were going to start in. I was like, wait, we should preface on what we're talking about here.
No, I think so. We're going to go over the top 3 lake activities, and I think yours are going to be pretty different than mine. They're pretty generic. Obviously, it's only 3 out of the hundreds of things to do at the lake, but I think they're
Start calling you generic Jerry.
generic Jerry. I think they're 3 of the more common ones. But I'm excited to hear what you have to say, because I think it's going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum from myself.
Yeah. As always, ladies first. Ryan, you go ahead.
Yeah. So are we starting on number 3 or number 2?
Start on your lowest one.
Okay. So
And by lake activities, we're talking anything in the process. Like from sun up to sundown. Well, maybe not even sundown. Wink, wink. But yeah, so it's anything to do with lake culture, doing stuff at the lake. You don't even necessarily need to be on the lake for this to be an item. It could be on shore. It can be whatever. So, Ryan, your number 3 lake activity. Let's hear it.
So my number 3 lake activity would be teeing up a golf ball, smashing some balls out into the lake.
So the reason why that one didn't make my list is I don't do it that often, because my ball would end up on the other side of the lake and like hit a window on the other side of the lake. Because that's
We're
just
talking lakes, not rivers.
No,
So.
I'm talking lakes. Yeah, so I just don't want to break any windows. But no,
I get it.
In reality, though, I do love doing that. I just don't do it that much.
Sure.
But when you
It's the
crank
best.
one,
And why do you always hit better with your driver off the lake shore than you do the tee box?
because when you get to the tee box, you get tense because there's a narrow fairway and there's
yep.
trees and
There's a
people
tunnel.
watching. On the lakeshore, you're probably about 15 beers deep. You got no pressure. You're loose as a goose.
Yep.
And you're just cranking them.
Now, to follow that up, I will, because I don't shoot biodegradable balls. They do have those out there, so I'm thinking about picking up some of those. But
Well, guys, Ryan hates the environment, so
well, no, but
I'm just kidding.
To follow that up, I'll take the paddleboard out and I'll find the balls that I hit. So I'll hit like 5 at a time, paddle out. Because they're all within like 2 feet of each other, like 250, 300 yards out.
How shallow is this? Are you like a professional scuba diver?
No, I would say about
I thought we were talking lakes, not rivers, Ryan.
No, so the lake that we're on is about 3 to 4 feet deep, about 300 to 400 yards out. It's super shallow, so I can see them at the bottom.
Well, that wouldn't be. I would be cranking them past that.
300 to 400 yards.
Yeah.
And mind you, there's zebra mussels in the lake, so that clears it up all that much better.
All right. I do love that. Have you seen there's floating ones too? We've used floating before. Floating golf balls.
I have heard of those. I'm gonna just need to get something different because
That's just
it is
not
kind of
practical.
a pain to like have to really search the
Also,
bottom.
what kind of peasants paddleboarding and not just jet skiing out there?
Well, then the thing with
I'm just
I have a
kidding.
rebuttal
Ryan.
to that. No, go ahead. You're number 3.
He's sick of my snarky
Done with
comments.
this.
All right, my number 3. I actually really like that one, Ryan. You were saying it was going to be generic, but that was pretty creative. I don't know.
I figured you might have had it on your list.
No. I talked about this before the podcast. The only one I talked about. My number 3 is taking the boat, not going to a sandbar. Sandbars are fun. I like them. But I love when the sun's going down. It's the sun's about to go down. It's golden hour, one would say.
Sure.
And that's when the wind dies down. You go anchor out in a deep part of the lake, and you just spend your time drinking, hanging on the boat, and then just like doing some deep water dives.
Sure.
The classic see how far away from the boat you can get, which is always a great idea at the beginning. And then you pop out from your dive, and then you're like, oh my God, I got to swim all the way back
Yeah.
to the
While
boat.
the boat's probably drifting from the waves.
Yeah, right. You dive the wrong way off of the boat.
Yep.
But I love that because, yes, the sandbar is cliche. It's fun. You're just standing, hanging out. You can be in the water the whole time. But you can do the same thing out there in the middle of the lake as long as you dipe up.
You got to dipe
Ryan.
up, baby.
Throw that life jacket on your legs. Strap yourself in. You're wearing a life jacket, diaper, and then you hop in the lake, and you can just float for probably hours.
For days.
For days, actually. For months.
Yeah.
You could float for years.
You can float for the whole summer until you freeze in.
Yep. And so anchoring out, diving off, diping up. It's my number 3.
I like that. I am kind of a sandbar guy just because I like to stand. I like to stand versus float, and I feel like it's just hot. It's hotter on a sandbar because
I feel that.
more of your body's exposed.
Right by land.
Yep.
I feel that.
But also the dangers of going to a sandbar is you could step on like a broken beer bottle because people are idiots. They just throw their beer cans in the lake.
Or zebra mussels if you got zebra mussels.
Or zebra
Those hurt
mussels.
too.
Those hurt really bad.
Yeah.
So I like that. I'll go for a nice dipe up in the middle of the lake and just kind of float there. Hopefully the muskies stay away, but you just got to take your chances.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. What's your
So
number
my number
2?
2, again, I don't know. This is a good one, I think. I really enjoy
Not to brag. I think this is a good one.
I really enjoy sitting on the picnic table, the high top picnic table, right in front of the lake, shaking some dice.
Ooh. A little gambling going on.
A little gambling going on. Might throw down a couple
So do
bucks.
you play for like dollars? Do you play for quarters?
Yeah, we'll
do
play
you
like 6-5-4. We'll play for quarters right away during the day, and then we might move to dollars later.
Do you ever get up to 20s, Ryan?
I don't know. I'm bad. I just have bad luck with that.
We haven't printed enough shirts for you to be throwing down 20s.
This isn't a virtual roulette where I can just walk out with $100.
Guy wins $100 one time and suddenly he's a high roller.
Yeah. So no, I really enjoy just like grabbing some beers, shaking some dice.
I'm literally, my body chemistry is changing thinking about sitting next to the lake, like in the evening as the sun's starting to go down. You've had your like skin is tight
Yep.
from the sun all day.
Yep.
And you're just tying on a good buzz. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and my top 2 so far, or my third and my second favorite, have both occurred on land. I don't know. There's something about being by the shore. There's a different vibe being on the shore versus being on the lake, right? Because you're free moving. You can go
it's
do
okay
stuff.
to
You can.
admit that you're just not a good swimmer.
I am a great swimmer. We'll get into that in my number 1.
Ooh. Are you you're the CrossFit Hardo guy that once a year he swims across the entire lake, aren't you?
No, this lake's big. This lake's
yeah.
big. I will. I'll paddleboard maybe like a mile in the morning.
Oh boy, yeah.
Nice little warm-up.
I told you guys. I told you. All right, my number 2. So,
Oh my gosh.
oh my god, that was coffee. So, I love hanging out with people at the lake, having a good time, good party. It's always fun to hop on a jet ski with someone, either your girlfriend, even another buddy.
Yep.
No homo, as
Then
one
you
would
can
say.
get real wild.
Yeah. And then there's no waterworks when you flip her off or whatever. But the best thing ever is hopping on a jet ski by yourself and just jetting out, because you don't have your phone. There's no one like right around that can tell you like, hey, you need to come back or anything. So it's literally like once you leave, obviously if you're like, hey, I'll be back in 10 minutes, but like if you just leave, you can be out there forever.
Yep.
And no one can tell you to come back. And it's just you and the water. And I don't know about you, Ryan, but you literally cannot frown when you're on a jet ski.
No.
Well, yeah, it's so hard.
It's a now that I think about that, it's a permanent smile.
It's instinctual. You cannot frown while you're riding a jet ski.
Yeah. If you dive the nose in and you get just sprayed with water, you're just like, man,
and then
that
you
was
feel like you
awesome.
think you're like Baywatch when you like flip your hair because you're
You think your hair looks a lot better than it does, and then you look in like the
and it's
side
like all
mirror.
matted.
Yep, that's the best.
No, but just going by yourself, there's just something about it. You can go as hard or as soft as you want.
That's what she said.
Hard or soft as you want, whipping that baby around. You don't have to talk to anyone. No one's nagging at you. No one's saying, hey, you can't drink that many beers in 1 hour. No one's saying, hey, you can't pour that much booze into that drink. It's just you by yourself
In the water.
and the water. To not to get too deep on you.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people who can attest to that. Like, just like, you're like, that was fun riding the jet ski together. And then you're like, and you just kick the other person out. Like, all right, I'm going to take it for a spin now. And then like, that's when you actually start having fun.
Right. Are you the type of guy that will seek out like a wakeboarding boat and you'll cheat off their waves and
Yeah.
just
Well,
like,
so I'm a stand-up guy.
Yep.
So,
and I'm not, I'm a sitter.
so it's like, when you have the stand-up that I have that doesn't have any sort of like aftermarket parts and doesn't have
Sure.
much juice to it, especially at my size,
Yeah.
you either need to find big waves or you need to have like perfect glass.
Sure.
Everything in between just not that sweet unless you just want a nice stroll around.
Yep.
Whereas like on the sit down jet skis, you can whip those things around all day and it's like easy, right? You whip around on a stand up, it's hard work. I don't know if you've ever done it, but it's like
Oh my
that came from deep. It's hard work and you're like out of breath after a few, especially if it's choppy and you're just whatever.
Sure.
So I either need a glass or I need some big wakeboard waves to launch myself off of. My knees are shot by the end of that too, by the way.
Yeah.
You follow a wakeboard around and you're
Yeah.
like launching off and landing on a stand-up jet ski. My knees just hurt.
I'm gonna have to try the stand up. I've never tried a stand up before.
Well, we'll
People
do a
say it's
podcast
hard.
from the lake and
Yeah.
we'll have you go on the stand-up beforehand and we'll do a stand-up review.
Yeah.
So you've never been on one?
No, never.
There we go.
Not one time in my whole life.
Yeah, you're gonna love it because you're a CrossFit guy, and it's like kind of like a hard-o move to have one.
So I could like take at CrossFit and at CrossFit games to like maybe repost.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next CrossFit Games they have a stand-up jet ski as part of one of their workouts. So
That'd be interesting.
That's how hard-o it is.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, Ryan, you're number one.
Yeah. So my number one. Man, I love.
You're supposed to just hit us with it when I do that.
Man, I just
All right,
there's
let's
some
try it
build
one
up.
more time. Okay, build it up, then I'll drum roll, then you go.
I don't really know how to build it up and then just pause. I think it's so. Do the drum roll again. Surfing,
You're a wake surfer.
dude.
I love wake surfing.
And it's like as so many people do it. It's not just so just out there. Like, oh, Ryan, your number one is doing this at the lake. There's nothing better than hopping on a wake boat with like
What-
eight to 10 other people, getting on the board, standing up that first time and just riding the wave, man.
Just flowing, man. Like
Bringing out your inner,
like we're just shredding the gnar.
Dad, bringing out my inner Kelly Slater. Just gonna go hit some quick ones. And
The swell's huge today,
yeah,
man.
can you pump the bag up on the left a little bit?
Honestly, like the person in the back needs to move a little more to the right. It's just not like curling like I want it to.
Hey man, can we get one more guy in back? Like we just need a little more.
Honestly, I think I need to maybe like put different fins on my board because I'm just not getting the same pop off the wave.
You think you could just like boost it up a little bit on the takeoff? Like I think you were a little bit too slow.
You wear a life jacket when you surf? Like what are you, like 4 years old?
Hey man, you can't even go no rope. Like we only go no rope on my boat.
Honestly, stop leaning back so far back. There's not enough slack in the rope. You want a big nice slack in the rope.
Dude, you gonna carve some waves there? Or you're just gonna sit in the wake?
Honestly, it'll be like really funny if like you took an Instagram video and then throw me a beer.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes, I won that. Yes.
Can you just throw me a quick beer? Just fucking get a quick video of me.
You gotta get a video.
Get a video of me and throw me a beer, and I'm
Then you always have
gonna bite into it and then shotgun it.
Then there's always one person that like is like looking around his buddies and like, should I do it? And they're like, oh, I think right now is the right time.
They run and jump off the back and try to tackle them. And they miss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gals are drinking white seltzers.
White Claws.
White Claws.
Yeah, the whole thing.
The guys are drinking Busch Light.
So
music's rolling.
What sucks about surfing though is either you need to own a very expensive boat.
Yep.
Or you need to know someone with a very expensive boat.
Yeah.
I am the latter.
I have two buddies that have boats. And it's kind of like I'll shoot a text in the morning and be like, hey man, you want to...
No, here's what I have to say. It's not like... It sounds bad. That sounds bad. Like I have buddies that have the boats, so I don't even need to worry about it. But it's like the reason why these guys want these boats is obviously for their own sake, but they want people to come on and have a good time with them on. Otherwise, what's the point of buying that boat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's like obviously you don't want to be a douche about like, no, just come on your boat.
Yeah.
But
bring your boat
at the
over.
same time, it's like they also want you to come and be on it. And
I think one of my goals for this summer is to like learn how to drive the boat really good, to make a good wave. Because here's the thing,
but there's so many finicky things that like I feel like those boat owners.
Oh my gosh!
Those boat owners like they don't like handing over the reins to just anyone.
That's what I want to learn, because the operator of the boat who probably owns it, they never get to surf.
Yeah,
they're always because they're the only ones who know how to drive.
Luckily, the friends that I have, they're a couple. And the guy and the gal both can drive the boat, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, so I want to give some opportunity to...
And if it was like if we like hit the throttle, they would trust me with just driving too, like
for sure.
Just with because all it is at that point is just steering and...
Yeah, and what's really like finicky with boats too, especially on the shallow lake that I'm on, you get too close to the shore, you suck up sand in the prop. It's messy. So, but yeah, I would like to learn how to drive and blast some country music, some Luke Combs. Yeah, we were just talking about
I
him.
hate that he's a Miller Lite guy, by the way.
Yeah, we should.
If I could go to a concert and have John Party open for Luke Combs, because I think that's a proper like. John Party's famous, but I think Luke Combs right now is a headliner and he might be an opener type of feel. That would be the best concert ever.
That'd be great. So if you know Luke Combs or John Party, can you just tag him in the comments, please?
Please tag him in the comments, please.
Hey,
please tag him in the comments.
We should do another bit. You said we got to get to St. Louis. We got to get to Luke Combs.
We got to get Luke Combs.
We got to get him on the podcast.
You did a video with that one guy who's like got the huge beer belly and the suspenders of the USA drinking team.
Okay.
And he just shotguns like ridiculous things. Like he's got like 4 beers shoved into another long, tall boy, whatever, and he just shotguns them all.
Sure.
You did a video with him, so
there's potential.
These people aren't untouchable here. I think we can maybe find a way.
Now, I told you my number one. My real number one would be sitting by the campfire with Luke Combs in a guitar and just throwing back a couple beers.
Like that would be the unbelievable scenario.
Maybe one day,
Let's get it out there. Let's put it out there because you never know. It'd be a great recall.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
someday to just be honestly not even the campfire, just be sitting around drinking beer.
Yeah,
listen to Luke Combs play a few songs on an acoustic guitar. would be insane. Now, Ryan, my number one.
So Miles, what's your number one?
Thanks, Ryan. Thank you for axing.
Axing.
Thank you for asking. My number one, it's not fancy, but it's all about having a good time. Going to a lake bar.
Ooh.
Which sounds kind of lame and
I love that.
anticlimactic, but you're in the sun all day. You're doing a little fruitier drinks. Maybe you're doing a bush mosa because it's sunny out and you're
Yep.
having a good time. You're doing all that. You get a little sunburn. You feel a little bit tired. Feel a little bit tired from the sun. Sun is now fully gone down. You got all the sweat on from just being at the lake. You go hop in the shower. Drunk shower.
Sure.
Drunk showers are definitely way different
And a
than normal shower.
shower beer.
Yep, and a shower beer. So it's just, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You get out, you throw on that shirt, and because it's like now the sun's down, so it's gonna be a little chillier. You throw on some jeans and some flip flops.
Okay.
Like I said, your skin's tight. We talked about that earlier. You have a few, a couple shots, maybe a couple more beers, and then you just head to the nearest bar that's on a lake. And there's everyone else is feeling the same way that you are. All they do is want to drink. They had a great day on the lake. They're usually really small, like the small town bars we're talking about on the podcast.
Yep.
These are these bars. And that's just one of my favorite things to do. A lot of people like to we'll just sit around the campfire and drink. I like to do that once in a while.
Once in a while.
But I love going to a local lake bar.
Yeah, I do as well. But I like more of the scene where you pull up at like 4 or 5 o'clock. You can walk, like you can literally pull your boat up to the restaurant. The bar.
I read you. Yeah, I like doing that.
Like to a Zorba's or something, and then you walk in, no shirt, or maybe a tank top, or maybe like a button up that's just not buttoned up. Just to throw a shirt on.
Show off those abs, right?
Oh yeah. So then
you work for those abs. You got to show them off.
and you can even walk in there barefoot.
Yeah.
That to me, that's like but then following that, you mirror your example.
Yeah. So for my example, it's like you're on the boat all day and you're like, hey, let's go grab a quick appetizer.
Yep.
You eat a few apps, and then you're like, okay. You leave that bar, you get on the boat, you go back to the cabin, you shower up, you do your thing, have a few more drinks, then you go back to that bar, but you go on the other side of the bar because you drive there or have some push burp. Someone drive you there.
We can walk to the closest.
That's so nice.
The closest bar. It's awesome.
Our bar is on our lake, which is amazing.
Yep.
But it's on the other side, and we could not walk there. Well, we could, but it would be like a 2 to 3 mile walk.
Yeah. So it's super convenient, but it'd be really cool to do a bar takeover at a lake bar.
Yeah, this year it ain't gonna happen. We basically are booked up.
Yep.
But you never know what the future holds, Ryan.
No, I think next year we could bring about some fun
we kind of
opportunities.
did that, but it was just in the winter for You Betcha Palooza.
True.
So,
Very true.
And I also think You Betcha Palooza will look a lot different next year now that we've started to do some bar takeovers and whatnot. So yeah. Let us know what your top 3 lake activities are. Ryan and I gave ours. Ryan, do your quick one over what the 3 are so you can remind the people.
Number 3, smashing golf balls.
Yep.
Number 2, just rolling some dice around the picnic table in front of the lake.
Yep.
Number 3, surfing. My 3 are number 3, anchoring the boat out deep, diping up and diving in. That should be like a shirt, dipe up and dive in. Dive up and dive in. Ooh.
Oh man. No one else steal that shirt from us.
Oh,
Number 2, jet skiing by yourself. Simple as that. Number 3, throwing on some jeans, going to a local lake bar once the sun goes down. Let us know what your 3 are. We're very curious. I think we're going to come up with have some cool ones that pop up.
Yep.
Because I feel like this is such an open-ended topic, but we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about, well, some lake stuff, but also Memorial Day weekend. Oh, my gosh. Did you shake that up on me? Oh, my God. There's Busch Light all over the microphone now. Did you booby trap me?
No, I didn't touch your Busch
Ryan,
Light.
the t-shirt guy, literally just booby trapped me by shaking up my Busch Light.
Didn't.
It went in my eye.
Didn't.
All over the mic, all over my seat.
That's the second time you've got sprayed on. The first time was my first surprise bush.
It's literally like still in my eye. I can't.
It's all over the mic.
So, however the rest of this,
one eye closed.
so however the rest of this podcast goes, this is gonna be a Michael Jordan flu game performance by me, simply because I can't see out of one of my eyes.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, we just had Memorial Day. People view it as like this weekend to just get hammered,
Or like we get a day off on Monday.
or we get a day off. But I was thinking about it today about like what actually Memorial Day is.
Yep.
And to me, it is bananas, because if I really thought about like being on the front lines and being a soldier and what it actually means, like think about that. Like if you've ever been anywhere and like you hear something that sounds like a gunshot, this is like going to be a really like abstract type of example, but like you think about like where your body goes just on that.
Yep.
Like thinking that the nearby a gun went off. Imagine like being the heat of battle, bullets are flying, being able to like figure out what's going on, do your duty and all of that. Like that is just absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words, man. Honestly, I think we should get a vet on the podcast sometime just to talk a little bit about that side of the world and what the things that they experience with the brotherhood of being in the military. One thing I thought was really cool.
Ryan,
I'm not laughing at the Memorial Day segment. I'm laughing at you because you have one eye
I can't
closed.
see. I told you this is going to be like an absolute Michael Jordan flu game performance.
I can't look at you right now.
What am I supposed to do about this?
Okay, I just need to gather myself.
Oh, we got Ryan the giggle monster going on.
So one thing that I was really tuned into.
Ryan, will you get it together? This is a podcast. People are literally trying to listen. They can't see what's going on, and you can't even keep it together.
Will you continue with the podcast?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that we get to celebrate Memorial Day, but it really seems weird that like to me, it just feels weird that like we all get a day off and all the people that are overseas and whatnot are like,
They don't get a day
off.
That's crazy, man. I never put it in that
It's
perspective.
like Father's Day is for fathers.
Yep.
And obviously Memorial Day is about all those who have passed and all of those who gave their life and all of that. But at the same time, when like Memorial Day should also be about the people who are currently serving or who past served. And I don't know, it just seems backwards and weird to me. Now, do you know, so this might, I do not know about this, but okay, I might be getting some vision back here, Ryan. I don't think so. So I feel like our generation, because there's been no draft, it's just obviously people who sign up for the military.
Yep.
Then when we are very old and the wars that are to come and the wars that have recently been done, we're just going to have a lot less people who are in the military, I feel like, because all of our grandfathers and great grandfathers, they got drafted back in the day.
Right.
Think about if we had a draft right now.
True. No, that makes sense.
Isn't that wild? The whole generation literally got drafted and had to go hold a gun and fight. Obviously, not everyone held a gun, but
Yep.
they had to go fight in a war. That's wild to me.
That's pretty crazy. One thing that I really latched onto, it started early last week, was there was a gym in town that their goal is, it's called the Brady Oberg Foundation. So they walk across all of North Dakota to raise money for PTSD, people who are having trouble getting back from overseas, trying to adjust to reality. Because think about how tough it is to adjust to reality when you come from just a completely different world, a completely different culture, and just like doing stuff that you'd never even think of doing back here in the United States.
Yeah, I like you watch the war movies, and obviously Hollywood's heads grip on it, but I imagine that there's a lot of truth, especially in the movies where they talk about PTSD and all that stuff, and it's just like it's a real problem.
It is, and this group of
there's a high number of veterans that are actually talk about Memorial Day and those who have passed that are actually taking their own lives,
right,
because of PTSD and all that stuff. It's a real problem.
Yeah, it was just cool to see this group of people walk all the way across the state. They rucked across North Dakota to raise money for this foundation. And it just kind of makes you step back and think a little bit. This is interesting. This is like our first one of our first serious segments, but also something that we also care about.
Yeah. I mean, I have my uncle is a veteran of the military.
Yep.
I feel like most people have someone that's like close to them that is affected by the military, and yeah, I don't know where are we going with that?
No, I was just saying it kind of makes you step back for a second and think like, there are people out there who.
But think about how many people yesterday, which we're shooting this on Tuesday, that didn't even think about it at all.
Exactly. They enjoyed their day off. They stayed at the lake an extra day. I actually did take a second just to think about it for a little bit, because that was, I felt like I had to do my due diligence, and respecting those who have passed away, served in the war, the best military in the world.
Say what you want. We're literally the best military in the entire world.
Yeah, and I think when I was younger, I really took it for granted. I enjoyed the day off, and that's what I took it as. But now, as you get older, you kind of realize more things, and you're affected by it a little bit more because you're closer to that in the group of people who are going overseas to fight.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's what this segment's about, is really we wanted to just kind of take the time to sit and talk about it and get the listeners to think about it, whether they thought about it or not. Because
and it shouldn't be just one day a year. As tough as it is in January to think of, gosh, really, like, I'm really appreciative of those people who have given that sacrifice. It's really highlighted on one day, but it is every day of the year that people are, people are committing suicide because they can't adjust to reality, or they're coming home from a war and seeing their family for the first time, or seeing a newborn that they didn't get to see born.
Could you imagine coming home and never seeing your child until they're like 1 year old?
Which is why the like at professional sports events, I feel like it's a big platform when they do surprise them coming home.
There's been so many of those videos, but you still do feel that like emotion every single time.
Every time.
I don't know if you do, but that's how I feel.
100%. It's like you kind of put yourself in those shoes, and it's one of my favorites is when they walk like up to the front porch, and their dog runs out. Dog hasn't seen him in like over a year, maybe.
Isn't that wild too? That they just pick up right where they left off.
Yeah. There's a video on YouTube. It's about two guys who trained a lion for like a year straight. It was a wild animal. It was a lion that they trained and set back out in the wild. And a year later, they came back to the stomping grounds that they
I think
left.
I actually watched that video.
They left this lion at, and the lion came up and gave both of them a hug, like jumped up, put his feet on their shoulders.
That. So back to like crazy. the veterans and the people serving. I know you love to talk about lions, Ryan, but have you seen the videos where people do they hold up the sheet, then they move out of the way and they drop it, and then they're either gone. Well, I saw one with a kid. The mom put it up, switched hands with the dad who was in the military and just got back.
Wow.
And then they dropped it, and he was standing there, and that one was like a pretty cool video.
That hits you, man.
Regardless, it's just like,
if you're an emotional person or not, you can't not get emotional about that.
But so, I mean, that was as much as we can do from our podcast studio in terms of thanking everyone who currently serves, who has served, and for those that gave their lives to the country so that we can sit here in this podcast studio and do this is pretty cool. And we are forever grateful. And you know, I wish I could give more than 10 minutes to this, you know, but
Yeah, it'd be cool. Anyone watching the podcast,
we'll have to get some military folk on the podcast and talk
Yeah.
about that, because I do like talking about that, especially if we can shed light on what's going on, especially with like the suicide and all that stuff. Like if we can do something like that, I definitely want to in the future. But I am we're gonna close out the podcast here. And I got to figure out this eye thing.
Is it actually burning?
It's been literally burning for the last 10 minutes because Ryan booby trapped me.
We'll have to go back and look
It's
at the
like
tape.
he's gunning for my job. I swear to God. But we're going to take our last break and then we'll close out the podcast. And I got to figure out this eye. All right, guys, we just want to thank our sponsors one more time. U Motors, Motorsports and Marine, located in Fargo, North Dakota, Pelican Lake, Minnesota. They have awesome brands. They've helped us out along the way. Great customer service, the whole thing. Boston's Pizza. They're hosting a bar takeover on June 8th in Fargo/West Fargo, North Dakota. They're going to have a Bush Mosa bar. They are going to roll out the red carpet. They're going to have a patio. Hopefully the weather permits. And then also Gina's Designs of the Heartland, because they are slinging really cool Nectar of the Gods wooden handcrafted signs on our website. You can check them out at their website at ginasdesignsoftheheartland.com. Ryan, take us home.
Guys, thanks again for listening to episode 21 of the You Betcha Radio podcast. I am going to be printing shirts this week to any of you who have ordered during.
We're going to be hot, baby.
We are going to be hot, baby.
That was weak. I went super hard and you went weak.
Well, right, but
Oh, by the way, my eye is doing a little better now. I took some eye drops.
the eye's good.
Whole thing.
So this week, any of you who have ordered during the pre-order of our biggest merch launch, I'm going to be printing that stuff up. We're
So
going to be
don't
sending it
email
out.
us wondering when it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. You're going to get it next week, just in time to get out to the lake and rep,
Rocking it.
and rep some Nectar of the Gods, some You Betcha out at the lake bar. Guys, go follow us on social media at OUBetcha. That's the main content hub of what we do. We have all of our merch exclusive launches there. The podcast is on at OUBetcha, and it's kind of where everything lives. So go check us out if you haven't yet. I actually don't know I don't know if anyone has found the podcast without actually seeing the social media pages.
It would
be interesting.
it would be interesting, but I agree with you.
But we talk about some cool stuff on the podcast today. We went over the top 3 lake activities that we're going to be doing.
If you have yours, throw them in the comments. Let us know if it's on Facebook, YouTube, the whole shebang.
Yeah, we want to see what other people do at the lake as well. So episode 21 is in the books. I am Ryan the T-shirt guy.
And I'm Miles, You Betcha guy. May your ranch always be runny. Your bush lattes forever be cold. Cheers, Ryan. Wow. Oh my God, that's cold.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Yeah.